CHARIOT LARP. You can find more info about that over at geekinitiative.com. We are doing a LARP over Google Hangouts, and we're broadcasting it on Twitch. That's the name of the game. It is a sci-fi live-action role-playing game. The characters, as well as their players, are all participating in a video conference. So the video conference part of it, we're going to be doing in character 2 at the game. But right now, what I'm doing is character creation with all of the players from Chariot LARP Beta. And we do these one at a time, personalized 30-minute sessions. And it's a free-form game, and the character creation process is pretty free-form as well. So you can see on the screen I have some different character roles, things that you can do, on the ship. And our characters are going to be on Earth preparing to lead and have these roles on a spaceship. So we'll talk a little more about the setting as we begin to make characters, but basically I've given just kind of an outline so people can choose from that or suggest what they want to do. And the character creation itself is actually a bit more free-form than you'll usually find in a lot of LARPs. So you're going to hear me ask questions here that I haven't asked other people, because it's like a conversation. It's like a good interview. My background is all marketing and publishing, and that's how I work. I want to make a good interview and get a solid character that everyone likes. So with me tonight, I have Cory. Welcome.
Thank you.
And we're going to go ahead and start this process. So to tell you and anyone watching, and if you are watching, I'm loading my stream up on my phone. So you can type in the comment area, and I'll see it. And if you want to find more about Chariot LARP, there's a link below, and you can just click on that big chariot sign, and it'll take you right to the site. But we can definitely see what you're saying in the chat here, and we'll answer anything you have. Just be patient with me, because I'm really focused on helping Cory create a character, so the stream is kind of second to what I'm doing. So to give some background on the setting, Chariot LARP takes place at the end of this century, and it is a sci-fi genre game, and the idea is that the world has plunged into war and chaos, and a very specific group of people, including our characters, have been selected to basically populate a spaceship that is traveling to Proxima B, where they will create a settlement called Proxima Endeavor. However, it's a generational ship, so our characters won't make it there. We're going to die on the way. But our grandchildren or great-grandchildren will hopefully make it there alive. We've decided that each run of this game, because there are 6 runs scheduled right now, including the alpha test that's already happened, each run of this game is going to represent a different ship in the same universe. So someday at a convention or at another LARP, we might actually all, you might meet people from a different run, and that's going to be assumed that they're on a different ship. So that's kind of how we're handling that, because I like everything we're doing to be canon. We all add to this lore. We build the world as we go. Super freeform game, and during the game, and this is something to keep in mind with character creation, I'll throw in news information about events happening in the world. They might affect your character's career or place where they come from, or maybe one of their family members, and that's kind of something to keep in mind. That's how I push plot along, because it's very freeform, but I like to create the urgency that we need to leave Earth very soon, and basically these characters are meeting the people they're going to spend the rest of their lives with, because they're getting ready to board a ship. So that's the whole premise, and I'm going to walk Cory through the character creation process. And on my screen, if you're watching the stream, on my screen I have an entire document here that I've sent to Cory and the other participants, outlining the different character roles you can have. So you could be a crew member, a civilian scientist, a civilian creative. Creative people have their own division, because we like to think the ship is progressive enough to give people healthcare and value the arts. We have a civilian educator. We have care workers and medical corps. And we have CSOPs, which is the Civilian Ship Operations Unit. Interesting thing about CSOPs, you can see I've built in some kind of power dynamics here. for use both in these runs and in future plans I have for this universe, CSOPS is actually responsible for like life support systems as well as janitorial services. So like in this world, in this here and now, people tend to look down on like food prep workers and janitors. Imagine if they were also in charge of like keeping the oxygen in the air, right? So try to kind of like have a really balanced system. And then there's ship politics. So there is opportunity to play a political character in this game. So, and there's like a voting system and everything. There's a provisional government on the ship that we can hash out before we go on. Every ship has its own provisional government. And then when the people land over on Proxima B, our descendants will create a permanent government structure. So that's another thing up for debate. Every run focuses on different stuff. Last time we focused a lot on autonomy and rights and how reproduction will happen on the ship. They were really interested in exploring that. We had one male crew member and everybody else identified as female, so that was a really interesting conversation. It was actually a lot about like his decisions being like outnumbered pretty much. So these interactions can go a lot of different ways. So knowing all of that and knowing the different divisions, Cory, which were you most interested in?
I mean, I kind of have been jumping around. Now that I read a little bit more into the CSOPS, that actually, so you know, I have a background in information security and stuff personally, so I think that would be easier for me to play. But
Okay.
if I wanted to do something outside of my, you know, expertise, you know, like terraforming engineer would be something that I'd be interested in as well. So it's kind of trying to figure out what the best option would be to go with.
Yeah, and so since this LARP, we limit it to 10 people, including the GM or the captain, which is going to be me for this run. And we have, since we have so few people in each run, which also makes sense for a digital LARP, I am not at all against people having multiple roles. So in the last run, we had somebody who was like an archivist, a librarian, but she was also, and she was all about preserving culture, but she was also our counselor. And we found that her roles integrated really well. And so if you were interested in exploring both and kind of leaning on the comfortability that you have in real life with information security, we could actually create a dual role for you where you know how to do that kind of thing, but you're also a terraforming engineer. And as a terraforming engineer, of course, is a generational ship, but there are things terraforming engineers are going to be preparing to do on the ship, like teaching other people how to do what they do. You might also have some expertise in the survivability of the environment on the actual ship itself, in gathering data, you know, as we approach this planet, and you know, even from afar, and kind of doing some plans, because plans aren't firmly established yet. It's only, the only thing that we've done is we start with like, you know, stuff that we need to create this new civilization. So that could be all on you. So I would suggest maybe making a dual role if you wanted to do something like that.
Okay. And so when you're like CSOPs, you could be multiple parts into that as well, right? So like
You could.
If you're system security, that ties in with life support, which ties into, you know.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And in this LARP, and I don't know a ton about your background, but in this LARP, it's very freeform. So it's not only on me to deliver events. If you, as somebody, especially who in real life will probably have more information or more of a background in system security than anyone else in the game, you're welcome to throw in events or to even write like a news item and send it to me. You know, that something has happened. And this being a stream, you know, a LARP played on Hangouts that's streamed, we could do some really awesome creative stuff with some simple images to represent like hacks and stuff like that. And, you know, like one challenge to this kind of game is I avoid it being narrative, right? We're not sitting in a tabletop game where I'm saying, you know, okay, then you go fight the alien or something. This is like a live action roleplay interaction, but something that could facilitate that is with a system security expert. If an event occurred, it could be easily represented digitally, just based on what's on the screen. And that just opens up a lot of really cool possibilities and actually would give your character a lot of action.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds like something that I can accomplish.
That's cool. And now you can see how each run of this game is entirely different. So the fact that you have like a real background in that, and the fact that I know I could probably like throw some kind of like, you know, system breach event at you, and that you could very easily like BS the technical lingo about that.
Right.
That would be super awesome, and that could actually be central to the plot of this run. That would be really cool. So let's make system security like you're going to be like the CSOPs guy, right? So you can really kind of jump in anything under that umbrella. So if you want to kind of delve into like terraforming a little bit and anything like else under CSOPs, you can do that. And we'll also say system security is like your thing. So none of us have really only one role. Like my character's the captain, but she has other interests too. And part of this is also for some characters finding out what else their interests are. You know, in the last run, my character was like, oh yeah, I'm a military person. And they were like, well, what do you do when you get the ship in orbit and you don't really have to do anything? And she's like, I don't know. All I focus on now is surviving, right? Like, she doesn't know how to not be in survival mode. So it'll really lead to some interesting discussions there. So speaking of hobbies, this is in the future, but not terribly far in the future. What does this character like to do, you know, in their pastime? What's the fun stuff they want to do?
So they would be interested in, like, I don't know, games like gambling, card games, dice games.
Nice.
You know.
I like it. There's a lot I can do with that too. So in the last session, we had somebody who was really interested in food, in cooking, in the culinary arts, and it actually changed the game. We actually did one session where we all brought food, and we ate dinner at the game, and we all talked about food, and he was very like effusive about his passion. Something really cool that we could do with this whole gaming thing is we could even do a session where we're playing some kind of game or whatever, and we kind of like, you know, give you some kind of advantage in the outcome because your character's really good at it. Again, this game is really freeform, but just kind of as we're bouncing ideas around, that gives me some ideas to do. And again, things that we can do on this, you know, online format. So cool. So gambling. Would you say your character is maybe more of like a risk taker because they gamble, or is that just what they're doing for fun?
No, yeah, he would definitely be a risk taker. You know, I'd say that he, you know, got into the security field because of the adrenaline he gets from the risk of constantly having to deal with those, you know, cyber attacks and stuff. And I would assume that far in the future, as we see now, cyber attacks are becoming more and more prevalent.
Yeah.
I'd assume at that point we're dealing with, you know, cyber attacks like people taking over pacemakers or, you know, vital organ type things. You know, just like, you know, one of the things that popped off the top of my head was like, you know, maybe somebody doesn't want to go now and they're starting to shut off life support stuff before the ship even launches, kind of thing.
Yeah. That stuff is definitely possible, and that actually kind of gives me some ideas for how to integrate your character onto the crew, even if they have kind of a, you know, such a risk-taking thing. Yeah, definitely getting ideas. I'm not going to say all of them now, but I'm writing some cool stuff down. And would you say they got into this security field based upon their, like in real life, I know sometimes the government or big companies will recruit hackers because the hackers are good at what they do and we're doing some illegal stuff. Was it that situation, or were they like straight career field, like I want to do this for a living?
I'm pretty good at playing like the characters who have a dark past type of like deception. so it would definitely be something that he's not going to say, like,
right.
yeah, I was recruited because I hacked in and did some bad stuff, but that could be something that could potentially come out.
And this is making me also think about world lore, because as we're playing Chariot, especially in these early runs, we're not only creating really cool characters, but this is giving me ideas for like corporate entities that maybe exist in the world that haven't been added to our core document yet, and that'll be canon for all future runs. And this is how these characters impact everything in the future. So, because we haven't defined a lot of that stuff, but obviously, like, big scary corporations and all the issues and benefits that come along with them are also going to be existing in this world. So that kind of gives me some ideas too. Now, in terms of leaving, so your character's gotten this letter. They are accepted on this elite position on the ship. The world is like pretty much looking like it's going to end. They get this chance. How do they feel about it? Are they ready to leave, and are they like, screw Earth, or are they like sad that they're leaving Earth?
I mean, I would say some of the ideas I'm coming up with now on the top of my head, I wouldn't want to give out too much, but I would say he would be extremely ready to go now.
Ready to leave. I relate. I'm playing that kind of character too. So ready to leave. I mean, it's a day-to-day survival situation, right? So, and especially with a risk-taker personality, I can see how they'd totally be he's going to be ready to go. And in terms of, like, childhood, background, family, a couple questions there. First of all, is your character like the tech-savvy dropout type who just, like, was so good at this stuff that, like, he figured it out on his own? Or is this person someone who went through a lot of formal education and stuck with it?
I would say, yeah, more formal. I'd say that he, grew up in a strict home where, school was, very prevalent to the family. Maybe, all like very smart family individuals who did their own things. Some were artists or whatever, and he just went that way because maybe family was pushing him towards sports or something that he didn't want to do, so he went the exact opposite and went to the tech. Awesome.
So not pushed into, so good at school but not pushed into certain fields.
Yeah.
All right, sounds great. And any family members, any friends, relationships that this person's leaving behind?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, he would have a pretty decent-sized family, with most of them being high-ranking wherever they're at, like whatever job field they're in. If, they may be a big sports star, they may be a huge known music artist or something. So none of them that he relates to anymore. So nothing that he wouldn't be ready to up and leave, except for, we can say that, he has a pregnant girlfriend.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Drama. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. Like, so that way it's, he's got to decide.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and even though everyone's been accepted into this program, I just want to take a second here. My friend Chad is watching the stream, and Chad, thank you for all those bits. They go to support the development of these games, and they keep them the cost low. So thank you so much for doing that. Chad just made affiliate on Twitch, which is a big deal. I also got recently affiliated, and I'm so excited. So congratulations, Chad, and thank you for those bits. I appreciate your support. We're just here with Cory creating his character for Chariot LARP. So yes, I like this kind of drama. One thing we established in the alpha run is that while people have been accepted to this program, it doesn't necessarily mean that they have to commit. So you have a lot of agency in this game. Your character can choose at the end of the game to be like, yo, you know what, guys, I'm not going. I'm gonna stay here. My girlfriend needs me, even though we're probably all gonna die. Or you could take you could even say, like, if she was close to her due date, you could even be like, my baby's gonna be here in 2 weeks. Can I take it on the ship with me and, like, plead? So there are a bunch of different directions you could take with that, and that's gonna add some really cool discussions. The first game focused a lot on, like, issues like autonomy. So far it's shaping up that this game is going to focus a lot more on people in their different elite positions. It's going to be more data-centric, and, yeah. Chad, I'm reading your message. I see that your cat is fine. I'm glad your cat's okay. So, yeah, I mean, I think I have a lot here to create this character. I just want to double-check. You had mentioned your character as he. Is that you want to use he, him pronouns for your character?
Yeah.
Awesome. And are those the pronouns that you prefer as well?
Yeah.
All right. Cool. That's everything I need. You actually gave me a ton to work with here. I'm super excited with writing this kind of character. I feel like it's going to help me create more of the world with some of the work that he's done. Do you have a name picked out? Because if you don't have a name, I'll just give you initials and you can run with those or create something else that you want.
Yeah, just throw me initials because I'm bad at name picking.
Okay. Me too. That's why I like to just give initials because it sort of helps. And yeah, that's everything I have. Do you have any questions for me?
No, I mean, I'm just going to wing it mostly.
That's how you do it. I don't know a ton about your background in LARP, but if you want to share that, like, I'll, definitely give you some tips or, tell you how this will run.
You mean like right now or in a different...
Yeah, like right now is fine.
Well, so my main LARP I do is actually Dystopia Rising. You probably heard of it.
Yes, I have. A lot of good
I've been doing that over 2 years now. I'm actually on the team with them, helping kind of coordinate people in the NPC land. And then through that, I met some people who do a local LARP here in Jacksonville called the Midnight Espresso Group. And they do, the vampire, werewolf. They're actually doing a Kapow LARP right now, which is a superhero LARP based on the Mutants of Mastermind.
Oh my gosh,
books.
I need to know about this group if they accept more people, because that's not far from me.
Yeah, like, it's actually me, Terry, and Manny go. That's how cool. I found you guys through Terry, because we're going to be coming to Dragon Thrones.
Right, awesome.
I'm trying to up my roleplay game because, I've been doing this Dystopia Rising for 2 years, and I played the same character who is just me. So I'm like, okay, I want to try something different.
A little different. Yeah, I want to give you something to lean on that that has enough of you in it. But, and I like this because you can do some different things with this character, but I also am going to lean on your real life experience and comfortability to throw some cool stuff at you. So I'm going to, there's some trust involved here, but I'm going to throw stuff at you that you'll be able to handle. And it's going to be like the information security stuff. And there's no, like, right or wrong answer. Like, you don't have to wait for me to solve it. So if I give you a problem and there's been a security breach and you give some technobabble, it's really up to you about whether or not you're, like, able to resolve it. It's all in your hands. So, so that'll work, and it's great to know. I'm going to be spending a lot more time in Florida next year, so I'm hoping to come to events out that way, and I'm really excited about it. So,
all right, yeah,
awesome.
That's awesome.
It was great to meet you, and any other questions before we finish?
No, that's it.
All right, I'm hoping to get characters done, like, tonight or tomorrow. As I told Danielle, I am going out to Quebec this weekend, and you're already in the Discord and set up there, which is great, and I want to give everyone a chance to interact out of game and to talk about their characters and kind of just naturally create those character connections. There are a couple things that I already, even just from talking to the two of you, that I have in mind in terms of how they might have heard of each other, which is cool. So, thank you so much for joining me. For anybody else interested, you can click on the Chariot LARP logo below to learn more about it, and head over to geekinitiative.com to learn more about LARP in general and what we're doing with this whole sci-fi digital LARP experience. So, Cory, thanks so much for joining me, and I will talk to you on Discord.
All right, thanks.
Bye.
Later.